Hello and welcome to Anfield Index Pro Plus. This would be a daily read, except Dave Davis has already done Saturday's daily read. But given you haven't heard my lovely voice in a couple of days, I thought I'd jump on and do a wee podcast today. Trev has obviously filled in brilliantly on the daily read for much of this past week. I'm hopeful it'll be me for most, if not all, of the coming week. And then my situation is going to be a little bit up and down for maybe a week or so while I just get myself situated, get internet and everything sorted. But then I should be back with a bang. And right, news today. Obviously, the big news that came out yesterday is the Florian Wirtz deal. We'll have a wee chat about that. But big news today: Atletico Madrid have approached Liverpool to discuss the possibility of signing Andy Robertson. Atleti have been in the market for a left back. It looked like they were going to get Theo Hernandez done, but that seems to have become a little bit complicated because of wage demands, because of, I would imagine, the fee that AC Milan would want for Theo, given he's one of the best left backs on the planet. And Atleti are never on a particularly good financial footing. Whatever reason, they just never seem to get themselves in a healthy balance sheet predicament. It's always something shaky. Now, I can see people saying, "Oh, well, we don't want to lose Robbo." I don't really understand that mindset. He hasn't been particularly good now for 3 years. In fact, he's been outright poor for 3 years. He's 31 years of age, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. We have to get out of this cycle of letting players leave for free. We just have to, because far too many players have left the club over the years when we've allowed their contracts to run down and failed to bring in income. And when we want to be a self-sustaining club who can't rely on investment from the owners, we have to get money for any and all players that go out the door. So if you think back to the summer of 2018, Emre Can leaves on a free. We had significant offers on the table for Emre the year before that. In the January, we let Lazar Markovic leave. Now, look, he was a flop at the club, but we spent a lot of money on him and ultimately got nothing back out of that deal, bar a couple of loan fees, which is disappointing. Then in the summer of 19, Daniel Sturridge leaves in a free. Albi Moreno leaves in a free. We couldn't have got anything for them. Not a penny. Summer of 2020, Chiravella leaves in a free. There was somebody else that left in a free that summer as well. Hang on. Find it here. Nathaniel Klein didn't really mind those deals at the time, but at the same time, if we want to be self-sustaining, sell them a year early and get 4 or 5 million for them. They're not serving you any purpose when they're out on loan anyway, so you might as well move them on. Summer of 2020, Lallana, who's just clung around at the club for 6 years, leaves on a free. We should have been getting a few million for him the year before. Summer of 2021, Gini Wijnaldum leaves on a free. Again, as much as I love Ginny, if we weren't going to give him a new deal, you've got to get him out the door the year earlier. 2022, Karius out on a free. Origi out on a free. Then there's 2023, and it's James Milner, Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Bobby all leaving for nothing. Now, you weren't going to get a fee for Milner at that age. That's fair enough. We signed him for nothing. But Naby cost us 50 odd million. Ox cost us 40. I know people love Bobby, but we should have sold Bobby a year earlier. There were offers there for it. and we hung on to him. And then last summer, Thiago obviously retired. That's fair enough. Joel Matip ultimately retired, but he did leave on a free after tearing his ACL, and then retired afterwards when there just weren't offers that he was interested in. But we could have sold him a year earlier before he tore his ACL and gotten a fee for it. And Andy Robertson with 1 year left on his deal, it makes more sense to sell him now than to let him run his contract out. And I know people will say, oh, but that means Costas is the backup. Yeah, but the backup. Costas has been the backup for years now. And he's been absolutely fine in that role. Costas also has 2 years left in his contract, which means you can keep him a year and then sell him next summer. Costas is also 2 years younger than Robbo. Costas also earns a lot less than Robbo, probably half, if not more. Robbo's on about 160, 170 grand a week. I'd be shocked if Costas is on more than 70 to 80. I'd say he's probably on about 60. So he's younger, he's cheaper, he's got a year left on his deal, an extra year left on his deal, meaning you can sell him next summer and get a fee. And his fee's not going to drastically alter over 12 months. If it's 15 million we might get from next summer, this summer, we might get 12 or 13 next summer. And ultimately, if we can get 10 million for Robbo this summer and 12 million for Costas next summer, that's more than getting 15 for Costas now and nothing for Robertson in a year. You've also got the factor that Costas has been the backup, therefore is used to being the backup, has never complained, never carried on. He just gets on with his job. He's happy enough to be the backup. He's happy to step in when needed. Andy Robertson has made it very clear he does not have any interest in being the backup. He does not see himself as the backup. He's been very, very clear on that. So, is he going to just settle into being the backup? No, I don't think he is. We also know who his agent is. This is the same agent who spent years putting together a deal with Real Madrid to sign his brother, to the point where his brother was able to go and have his introductory press conference speaking fluent Spanish. This is the same agent who represented a former club captain who, when not offered the terms and conditions he wanted, had himself a big public cry and lied that Atletico Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain were interested in him. And the logic was that Pochettino knew him from when he was at Spurs, even though the manager of PSG has zero impact and zero input in transfers, and that him and Luis Suarez were friends. This was the logic, and apparently Jurgen Klopp bought it and forced the club to give the fella a new contract. And then 2 years later, same fella got a big old offer from Saudi Arabia, and having pretended to be a friend to all of those in the LGBTQ community, decided, no, none of that's for me. Off I go to Saudi. Then went to Saudi, decided, I don't know, maybe it was a bit too hot over there for his mac and blood, and decided to force his way out. Went to Ajax, having been quite disastrous there for the first 12 months he was at the club, decided it wasn't for him anymore, and tried to force his way to Monaco. This is all with an agent who is, quite frankly, a snake. A snake who's only an agent because the club paid for him to go to university. The club paid for him to get his license, do all his tests. If not for Liverpool Football Club, Tyler Alexander-Arnold would just be some weird guy on Instagram who slides into young girls' DMs. That's all he'd be. But instead, he's an agent. And he's the agent of a 31-year-old international player who's not going to be happy sitting on the bench. And all we would do is open ourselves up to noise. And we don't need noise. We don't need noise at all. We need harmony. Because harmony will help you win things. Noise is a distraction. Noise stops you from winning things. Andy Robertson is also captain of Scotland. That's very important to him. Playing for Scotland is very important to him. And Scotland, let's not forget, have Kieran Tierney moving back to Celtic, where he will play every week. They have Aaron Hickey, likely going to play a lot more next season than he did this season when he didn't play at all. They have good left-back options. And if Robbo's not playing at club level, maybe he's not going to be in the Scotland team. If he's not in the team, he can't be captain, can he? And it matters to Robbo. It really does. It's hugely important to the fella, and rightly so. He's fiercely proud to be Scottish, and he's fiercely proud to be captain. And he'll want to get to 100 caps. He's got 84 right now. It can be a lot tougher if he's not starting week in, week out at club level. And he won't start week in, week out at club level for us because Milos Kerkez is going to start left back week in, week out. So the best thing we can really do is strike a deal with Atleti, potentially on favourable terms for them, let him move on, give him the adulation on the way out the door that he has earned over his 8 years at Liverpool. Despite the fact his form has not been very good for 3 years, you never doubted his effort level. You never doubted the want or desire to be his best. So you move him on. You move him on, and you move him on with massive thanks. Because Andy Robertson came to this club from a whole team in which he'd been relegated twice, was greeted by a fan base who thought, this is FSG being cheap again. This is Liverpool buying players that the manager doesn't want because he didn't play immediately. But when Aldi Moreno got injured midway through the 17-18 season and Andy Robertson stepped in, that was it. Game over. Andy Robertson was our left back for the next 7.5 years. 342 games for the club, 11 goals, countless assists, and a huge part in 2 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, 2 League Cups, a Champions League, a European Super Cup, and a World Club Cup. Also, obviously, runner-up in the Premier League on 2 occasions, runner-up in the Champions League on 2 occasions. Andy Robertson's been brilliant for us. Over the 8 years, for the fee we paid, one of the great buys we've ever made. But it is time. It is time to move him on. This is how we always operated back when we were really successful. And with respect, better players than Andy Robertson were moved out the door. Players who, again, with respect, had accomplished more than Andy Robertson has with the club. They were moved out the door. When their time came, we just moved them on. And Andy Robertson's time is now. Move him on and let him have a new chapter in his career. Maybe playing in Spain rejuvenates him. Maybe he gets another couple of good years out of him. It certainly worked wonders for Kieran Trippier. When he went there, he looked like a busted flush in his last season at Spurs. Went to Atletico Madrid and it revived his career, and he's still playing now. He's not playing very well now, but he's still playing now. And it's 6 years later. He was younger going to Spain than Robbo is, but at the same time, it worked wonders for him.
Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way. With the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at AnfieldIndexPro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.